Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer. Welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I learn a little bit more about somebody else's perspective on movies. And for five times, this is my buddy Adam Ritchie. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me on and indulging my wanting to talk about film all the time. Round
I was
five. I'm getting old.
I
Like that.
was tempted to make a Booker T reference from pro wrestling, and then I thought, how many people would actually get that? Would I just be doing it for
I
myself?
wouldn't.
So, so then I did it. But I made the reference anyway. But Adam, before we dive into things, would you like to shamelessly plug anything for people to see your thoughts on movies?
Well, you just kind of alluded to it. Letterboxd
There you
is
go.
where you catch me best. Kerbrider, Kerbriger. Pretty prolific on there. I was just looking at my Wrapped earlier from last year. 633 films. I know it's not even scratching your surface, Shane,
It's
but
not a competition,
I,
Adam.
I feel like all I do is watch film, and I don't know how you watch twice as many. It's bananas.
I had to evolve to two time turners. There's like three of me going at one time now.
I think there must be. I think there must be. Yeah,
I got
it's
to set up
weird.
a TV in every room in my house and just have that many time turners. Go movie
Yeah,
going down in every room. Can you imagine?
it's crazy.
Can you imagine the efficiency?
It'd be amazing. I would want that.
It'd be the greatest thing ever. Too bad it doesn't exist. It only exists in Harry Potter.
No,
And Hermione
no.
showed us the great things that you could do with it. And now we all have to sit here being like, well, it's not real. But what is
She
real?
saved. She saved Buckbeak. That was
She
enough.
sure did. Prisoner of Azkaban's a great one. So good.
Mm, sure is.
But jumping in. Now, Adam, what is your preferred environment for watching a movie?
Um, the older I've gotten, that's changed. But right now, it's on my couch and alone with no one else in the house, which is really rare. So I actually, when I watch films, I do get interrupted a lot, either by kids or people visiting or my cat, whatever. I don't often get to see, or even my own what do you call it? Attention span will also detract me. So I'm often skipping back. So yeah, just on my couch. I have a pretty decent setup.
Mhm.
One I'm happy with sound and visuals. Just to sit back in my recliner and watch a film alone. The theatre, we'll probably get onto that in the next question, to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
alone in
it's
the dark.
it's getting hard going to movie
Yeah.
theaters and how people act. But
Yeah.
what are your standards for watching movies at the theater? Wonderful segue.
Well, yeah, we don't quite have the same issues you do in America. We don't watch movies like a sport in Australia generally. Like you might, if you happen to go to a matinee screening and there's some teenagers there, they might be a little annoying, but it's not really over the top from the stories that I hear in our group chats and stuff. It's very well behaved in Australia for the most part. I'm dreading the day it gets bad. I have a friend who goes to the cinema in the bigger city just north of here, and he says he can get a bit crazy, especially when the Spider-Man movie. But I know I'm not answering the question yet, but I will. So I don't mind going to the cinema. I don't go. I used to go once, twice a month. Now I
Mhm.
go. Well, I think last year I went 7 times to the cinema. And so it takes something big to get me there. Something I want to see now, and something that I've been looking forward to. But basically, at my local cinema, it's quite good. It's quite big and kind of fancy if you want. So I actually always get a recliner. I prefer to have Atmos, Dolby Atmos sound if I can.
Mhm.
For some stupid reason, my cinema doesn't show a lot of films in 4K. It just shows just HD. I remember the copy of when I went to watch Shang-Chi. That was a really terrible image, but it sounded great. And my 4K disc that I have of it was 3 times or 4 times better, I'll say, because it's supposed
Math.
to be. Yeah, it was just better watching it at home visually. So yeah, it's kind of just I just want it's something that should be seen on the big screen, and something where I might go a week or two later where there's not as many people as well. So just for my general social anxiety as I've grown older as well, being around people is something I want to do less of.
That
It's
is very
just not.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll admit
Yeah.
the main. Okay.
No, no, no. That's. I was just gonna say that's basically my standards for going to the cinema.
Yeah, my inspiration for these two questions is the fact that if somebody hired me as an usher at a movie theater, I'd be a total Nazi. Like, you better not take your phone out. You better not say shit to the movie. You better sit in your assigned seat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I, I am that person at the movies where it's just like I went into a movie and some older guy was sitting in my seat. He's like, "Oh, which one's yours?" That one. I just stared at him until he moved. I'm like, that is my seat. Thank
You
you.
paid for it. Yeah.
I do not I have loomed over two old ladies who took my wife and my seat at the movie theater because they just wanted that seat instead. I'm like, and
Too bad.
they look so mad at me when they finally got up, but you know what? Those are the
Unreal.
rules. So
Well, I paid for those seats. Get out. It's like, nah, yeah, that's. I can't believe some people have the gall to do that. To just go, well, I didn't pay for these ones, but this is where I'm sitting. Like,
well, these were
piss
two
off.
80-year-old women who definitely thought like I've lived long enough, I can do whatever I want. I'm like,
Yeah,
not in my watch.
yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah,
I'm
no, good for
Sheriff
you.
Sheriff Shane of the movie theater.
No, man, good for you for standing up for it because you paid for it. You get it. Like, just because you're old doesn't mean you're going to get
I'm like
leeway.
I'm like little Bill from Unforgiven, except at the movie theater. No guns in city limits.
Hey, man, that's the thing in America. You could whip out something too. Like,
I did not
you
mean
guys
for
just,
turn that way, but unfortunately, that is something we have to worry about, apparently.
uh,
But
yeah.
anyway, now, Adam, what film will always get an emotional reaction out of you?
Um, look, lots do, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like especially as I've become a parent and I have kids, like I never used to cry, but or especially at movies. Um, but I think, look, any good film should draw some type of emotional reaction from you, regardless of the emotion. Like that's what a
Yep.
good film is supposed to do. But if you mean what makes me cry, like a lot, like I'll tear up a lot, but actually cry.
Mhm.
Life is beautiful. The ending of Life is Beautiful just destroys me every time. I've seen it 3 times, and I just uncontrollable sobs. I have to get up and just disappear into a quiet room and just it's it's bananas. Like it's just destroys me. I don't. And I probably do know why, but geez, it's a hard film.
Some of those movies, though, they hit a specific chord and get that
Yeah,
reaction out of them.
yeah.
Now, this is very funny as we were talking earlier about franchises and franchise paradiso. Shameless plugs to some of our friends who have a podcast that I've been popping up on. But so this is a two-part question. So part one, what's a film franchise, film series that has ended that you wish would what did not actually stop?
Look, this is probably a cheat because it never got to franchise stage, but everyone wants it to be. But I want, and I think at this stage, with so many years past, I think you probably know what I'm going to say, but I would love to see Angari Rice pick up the reins and carry on the Nice Guys
Yep.
as just following her dad's shoes, footsteps. I watched the Nice Guys again. I made my daughter watch it. It might have been 2 days ago, and it's a it's a no brainer, fantastic film.
Yep.
But I can't see. I couldn't think of anything else better to honestly go ahead that I would want to see more of.
I was thinking, feeling that'll be an answer for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah. That's right.
interesting because I just heard Russell Crowe in an interview. They
Hmm.
because they were talking about Gladiator 2 and like he's
Yes.
not in everything. He's like they're like, you've never been in a sequel. It's like, no, I haven't at this point. I haven't had a film that I really wanted to go back to, except I want to go back and make Nice Guys too.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I think I saw
yes,
that too.
make it
Yes,
happen.
but it's up to Shane Black, isn't it? Like, I mean, no, don't get the money. He can get the money. I mean, if I won a stupid amount of money, I would DM Shane Black and say, dude, how much do you need to make this film?
Yes.
I would pay for it. I'd be like George Harrison with The Life of Brian. It's like, just get it done.
Yep. Bringing back homemade films. Boom.
Yeah,
Or is it
as long as you get the same
film?
free.
Handmade films. Yeah. I mean, and then the second part of the question is, what's a franchise that just needs to stop?
Another really generic answer, because we had a discussion earlier today about this. The MCU, it just needs a break at least. I think there's been a lot of stories of actors and directors coming out and saying, Jodie Foster was a big one. And I answered this question before I saw the Jodie Foster. It needs a break at least. You need to give. It's like that old comedy thing. Go out while you're on a high, right? And um, give leave people wanting. People don't want anymore. People aren't left wanting anymore because this saturated us with superhero stuff. The whole superhero stuff, I think, would need to stop. Needs to. It's getting silly, and it's ruining cinema. It's ruining independent cinema because it's giving studios expectations of what they need to spend money on because that's what will make money, and it's really it's not it's not a good time for smaller movies. I think.
I hope Oppenheimer taught a lesson that you could go out
Mm,
and make like $100 million is not a small budget, but comparatively, it's a medium-sized
to
budget.
those,
It's
yeah,
a 3 hour R-rated biopic, and it made
yep,
$950 million worldwide because of Christopher Nolan and also Barbie. But because of Christopher Nolan,
marketing, marketing.
yeah, and you know, studios, I hope they learn the right lessons out of a lot of these movies flopping this year.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
So, and
Yeah,
this year I was just writing an article about why 2024 we should look forward to for the year of film.
there's
One of my
good shit
points
coming.
was we're having one MCU movie, zero DCU movies, and then we have the Joker sequel, which is all floating off
Yep,
in its own weird, it's a musical now kind of quality.
musical. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
What do you
basically
do?
who's ruling the comic book scene right now is Sony with all this trash villain movies that they're putting out this year because we're getting a Madam Web,
Oh,
a Craven
uh,
movie, and Venom 3. And I'm just like,
is that right? I
yep.
don't even know.
And my hope is that they realize that I don't think that Madam Web movie is going to make a cent. Like, I feel like it's going to be
It's
like a
Sydney Sweeney, isn't it?
leading Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney's in it. I have a sinking feeling it's going to pull a Morbius and make like no money. And maybe 2024 is a year to help them realize like we need a little breather,
Yes, need a reset, a whole reset.
which
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to get that with the MCU. DC is, they're hard resetting it all. But they're taking
yeah,
1 year break, which I don't think is
yeah.
long enough, but
That's no, no, it's not
money. The answer to all of it is money.
100%.
Now, Adam, what's a historical event that you really think should get a film adaptation?
This is a really hard one to think of because everything's been done. I think pretty much except one thing, an Australian thing, which I need you to YouTube look this up
Mhm.
after we told you about this. It's because it's funny as shit. Um, in the 30s in Australia, it's a thing called the Emu War, where emus were basically invading farmland and destroying farmland. And so they called in all these farmers. I think it was military, but they actually went out with guns to kill all these emus, had a war with emus. The emus won. The emus won. You need to look this up. And
This
I
is
would
like
want.
Italy versus Ethiopia, WW2 all over again.
This is honestly, man, it's the funniest true story of all time that I think
How hasn't that got turned into a movie?
I look. It may have been, but I doubt it. I don't
Well,
think
I
so.
haven't
But
heard of it, so it doesn't exist. So,
yeah, exactly. That's right.
so
I
I haven't
think
heard
I
of a
thought I'd watch
movie.
a direct.
So,
Please just YouTube go just type in Emu War
so
and
are
you'll
we gonna
see
get
some
Taika
funny stuff.
Waititi to direct this?
Well, that's who I have noted, yeah, but he's a New Zealander. I'd like to have an Australian director, to be honest. So, but Taika would be a good choice. But yeah, I think that would be a fantastic
You
thing to watch
gotta.
because it'd just be a great. I could
That
see it as a
doesn't seem
slapstick
like
Abbott and Costello comedy.
it doesn't seem like a Peter Weir type film. I
No,
feel like you would need
no.
somebody with some more comedic approach to do it.
It could be, even though technically a New Zealander, it would still be a good debut directorial debut. I don't think he's ever directed a movie for Russell Crowe because he's
Well,
got comedy chops, right?
he did The Water Diviner or Diviner, however you
Mm,
say it, which
yeah,
I
no,
thought that
Diviner. Yes,
was
you're right. He did.
fine.
Yeah.
If Russell Crowe directed a movie about a war with emus, that would be my number one most
Well,
anticipated movie of that year.
You know he'd have Ridley Scott consulting with him, like because Ridley knows how to direct war scenes, right?
Okay, I know he's not Australian, but I kind of want Ridley Scott to make it, and I can't wait for the press tour after.
Yeah, yeah,
Can you
that would
imagine
be
they try to
amazing.
have him with an emu for an interview just for the publicity, and he like punches an emu or something like that?
Yeah,
80 something year
yeah.
old man.
Wow,
This
man,
needs to
that'd be great.
happen. Dang. Now,
It does.
thinking along the same lines, but what person deserves to get a biopic made about them?
This was easy for me because I love the man, and I think it will happen. But Prince needs a biopic. I'd love to see.
Oh, that has to happen, right?
Doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. It's the thought of it gives me is actually giving me goosebumps. I look. I can't say strongly enough how much I love Prince. Like he's the for me, no one will ever be better. No one was better, and no one will ever be better. Genius in the
I
true sense of the word.
follow the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on TikTok, and just so happened that today popped up on my TikTok the While My Guitar Gently Weeps cover, and
Hmm.
him just
Hmm.
going off with that guitar
Yeah.
solo, and like Tom
Do you
Petty
know why he
trying to
did?
like sing in the background. He's just like, oh, going for it.
Do you
And
know why he did that? Because
what?
he never made the Rolling Stones top 100 guitarists of all time, and he actually said in an interview once, "I want to be known as a great guitarist. That when I die, that's what I want my legacy to be as a guitarist,
Well, he used
not
that
anything
platform and
else."
just like owned it.
And he went out there and was like, "Fuck all y'all! I'm going to show you how good I am against these greats who did get in," and he
Yeah.
slayed them all. And because he's a brilliant guitarist, like
Well, and
he's
that's something he
insane.
definitely didn't get enough credit for. And also, F Rolling
No,
Stone magazine and all their lists
yeah,
because
exactly.
they
Yeah,
suck.
yeah, yeah.
I'll
They
give
do.
them credit for making Stalker from Andrei Tarkovsky their number two sci-fi movie of all time. I'm just like, that's bold. Like, I love Stalker, but like, that's bold. But no,
Who
some of
makes
their
them?
lists are trash. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
trash, trash. I'm like, who are you making
I
these
think they
lists?
deliberately make. I think they deliberately make them that way to get clicks, to
Of course
get
they do.
eyes on the screen.
They would.
Yeah,
Rolling Stone
yeah.
magazine would. They used to shit on Rush all the time, and you could go to hell because I'm like one of the biggest Rush fans you're gonna find. So, um, do you have an idea of who you would cast as Prince? I feel like that would be.
It's impossible. I don't know anyone. I honestly had a brief thought for Andre 3000, but he's because he has that. He's a crazy kind of dude, and I think he'd be okay. And I know he acts.
And he has
Um,
some acting background. He was in an A24 film. He was in High Life. That
was
Great
he? Yeah, okay.
Gatsby.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Um, I,
that's
but
interesting
honestly, I
because
don't know because you need someone who can sing it as well.
yeah, unless they
And
pull the
Prince was
Bohemian
short.
Rhapsody crap and
I
just
would want I would want real, yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't talk to me about Bohemian Rhapsody. It makes me
they
cry.
need to do a Rocket
Uh,
Man and actually find somebody like Taron Egerton who actually does
yeah,
it.
that's right. I think you'd probably want an unknown because I would want
I
it
think it
to
would
be
have to be
realistic. Yeah, someone
at this
because Prince
point.
was short, um, and there's plenty of people out there who have stories about Prince who know what he was like as a real person. Like a he was a funny dude. He gave a lot of his money away to charities, and he was a really good guy. And but he's passed in the 70s and 80s with his sexual exploits and his experimentation and just his genius of music. And look, I know a lot about the guy from stuff I've read. Well, from testimonies from other people and blah blah blah. He's just a fascinating character as well as just a brilliant musician.
I feel like this movie, if they wanted to end it on a high note, ends with him playing the Super Bowl and just
Yes,
absolutely destroying it.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Seen
Where
way
he
too many
said
music biopics. I'm just like,
he
I can
said
see all the pieces coming together.
he said with that, like, 'cause it was raining, and they said, "Oh, it's raining. Is that okay? Just can you make it rain?" Yeah, he said, "Can you make it rain harder?" He did. He's just like
He went
such a
out there.
showman.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man,
watched the top 20 list of the best half Super Bowl halftime shows, and that was number one
yep,
because he
yeah,
killed it.
man,
Now,
the best.
what is your go-to streaming service, and what features and content do you desire most from a platform? This will be interesting because you have this
Mm,
Australian perspective and not what we
yeah,
in the US have in terms of streaming. So go ahead.
yeah. Well, if you're not if you're watching this and you're not from Australia, then you won't get this platform. But there's one platform we have here called Stan. It, STAN. I'm just saying. I'm spelling it because of my accent. You might not know what the hell I'm saying. Stan. It has a lot of stuff in this that the typical streamers don't have. Like we have a lot of world movies, like stuff from France and a lot of
Mhm.
older movies. Like Netflix doesn't have that type of thing here in Australia. We have
Yeah.
Netflix in Australia carries more Asian cinema, and but
Interesting.
not good Asian cinema, but not good Asian cinema either. It has all the Studio Ghibli, but it doesn't have. It just doesn't have. It has the lesser stuff, I guess. That no one, not the big names, not the big old martial arts and blah blah blah. Where Stan has a great selection of TV shows. Like I think we get a lot of the Showtime and AMC stuff on Stan here. It's either split between Stan or Amazon Prime. Um, but because I watch mainly movies rather than shows, it has just stuff from directors that you don't get on other streamers in Australia. Like you'll have stuff from Leos Carax. You'll have I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you just have old '70s classic movies like Rosemary's Baby, things like that. You just don't get them on
Yeah.
any other service in Australia. So that's why. So that's what I expect from a streamer as well, like something that caters. I really want a streamer to show movies from before 1990, really, or before 1980, because they don't do that here. I know you guys have Turner Classic Movies, and you have
In Yeah, in the
HBO,
US,
and
that's mostly on Max because they have TCM. They have
yeah,
Max also has Criterion Collection access
yes,
too. So
yeah.
my
So we don't
go-to
have that.
answer is always Max because like
Yeah,
all things considered, they have the most and best content in the US.
yeah,
But that I appreciate the different perspective because that's an important thing for all of us Americans to realize like it's not the same thing everywhere. And like
no,
I
no,
I had one of those moments where somebody was bragging about, I think it was called How to Have Sex, just came out on
mhm,
UK movie this week, and it comes out in
right,
February in the US on movie. I'm like, they're like,
right.
UK movie has this. I'm like, screw you. And like those
That's
kind of moments, like, would be lovely consistency across every
yeah.
country,
Like
but no, that's
it's licensing and distribution laws need to be reined in somehow because it's so annoying, especially in this country. Like our movie doesn't have original movies on it in
so
Australia.
stupid.
It's I don't understand it. Like it's uber frustrating. Yeah, and I just want something that I want to watch. Like if totally being totally selfish, like
Yeah.
you don't get anything past the '90s, and even getting movies from the '90s is hard here. Like it's all I don't know. I find Netflix can be mostly trash. There's a few good stuff here and there. Like I'll
The
have Netflix
US
for
too.
2 months, 2 or 3 months at a time. Then I'll cancel it for 2 or 3 months and get it back. Because I don't see the need to have it all the time. Um, and
That's
it's
right.
expensive actually. And Netflix is actually expensive.
It's
Yeah, I
expensive,
pay
expensive at this point.
$24 a month here for like 4K. Like and even to pay extra for 4K is a joke. Um, with Stan, you have to pay extra for 4K, but I don't because they're it's another thing that you want from a streamer is that their bitrate and their compression is really good, and Stan is actually really good. Their image quality and sound quality is top tier, better than you'll get from any other streamer here in Australia, just as standard. Maybe apart from Apple TV, I'll say, but yeah, that's what that's what you watch this stuff for as well. You need good image and good sound. So yeah,
Absolutely. A lot of things to consider, and there's
mm,
it's such a tough thing, especially because everything's getting so expensive trying to figure out what to keep on to. Now,
yeah, yeah.
what's a TV series do you wish would be revived for more seasons?
I have three because two of
Okay.
them are always two of them are kind of my favorite comedy series that didn't get their final season. They were actually cut short. One is The Last Man on Earth, the Will Forte show, because that needed a fifth season to close. That show's hilarious. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. And My Name is Earl, that was cut short. That needed its final season, and gutted it didn't because it ended on such a great cliffhanger. Oh, so did Last Man on Earth, for that matter, and also so did the next one, which is a Netflix. One of the reasons I kind of stopped watching TV because I'm sick of this shit happening.
Mhm.
Is that you get invested in a show and they cut it off and don't end it with Santa Clarita Diet, because that show was awesome. Drew Barrymore and Oliphant,
Yeah.
Skylar Gazondo. Such a great show. So funny and gruesome and stupid. And it needed at least 2 more seasons, I think, for that one. But yeah,
Netflix is particularly bad about just gutting things. And
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right, it's so hard to get any show to last. Like there's so many shows that ended this year. I don't know how many of them were supposed to end.
Mm,
I know most of the HBO ones were supposed to end because like Succession and Barry felt like that was supposed to be the end. Marvelous
yeah.
Mrs. Maisel finally like got to its end. Ted Lasso is a giant question mark. I'm like, was that supposed to be the end?
Mm,
Don't know.
I don't know. I kind of hope it is the end for Ted Lasso, to be honest. I
And
mean, I think it ended okay.
like I just like I've been a humongous Archer fan since the start, and they finally ended after it got 14 seasons, so I'm not gonna complain about that. It probably should
Yeah,
have got
yeah.
canceled before that, but I've been enjoying it the whole time, except for those weird dream seasons. I thought it was gonna end on that shit, and I was gonna be like, please don't. Um, but like Letterkenny just ended
Oh, yeah.
that hit. I'm never gonna celebrate Boxing Day ever again. Because I celebrated Boxing Day because Letterkenny always dropped the
Good for
season
you.
on
Good for
it.
you.
And it's like what we do in the shadows. I think
Yeah,
this is supposed to be the end. Because like
I
what
think
happened in
so.
the fifth
Yeah,
season has
yeah,
pushed it to a point, and
absolutely.
but it's the worst feeling in the world. Like that show Bloods that I was talking to you about ended on a giant
Mm,
emotional cliffhanger at the end of the
and
second
that's
season.
it. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell
You know
is
what?
this?
Yeah, I might actually remove that from my watch list, knowing that, because if it ends on that, like, what's the point in watching? That's the fine line with TV. You've got to get it to a complete closure, like
Yeah,
something like The Good Place or Breaking Bad. They ended because they were supposed to end.
yeah,
But shows either go too long because they're too busy trying to make money and milk
yeah,
shit out of it, like The Big Bang Theory or Two and a Half Men, just milking that cow until
yeah.
it is nothing left of it.
Thanks,
Um,
CBS.
Seinfeld did it right.
Specifically.
Seinfeld ended on probably the greatest season of sitcom television of all time. Season 9 of Seinfeld is the best season of comedy ever, and it ended, and that's brilliant. Maybe except for that final finale, but it's such a
That was a
fantastic
giant
season.
like middle finger to the main
And
characters of the show.
but but if you watch
They're
the
also
show over and
terrible
over, like
people, so
they the fact that they ended in jail makes sense because they are obsessed with jail the entire series, the entire runtime. Every time they bring up jail, they're like, one day. They always fantasize about jail. So for them to end it on that, I think it was kind of fitting in a
and they're not
fashion.
great.
Um,
Not great people.
oh, they're horrible people.
Yeah,
That's what makes it
so
good to watch, though. They are assholes, every one of them.
and
So
that's exactly why they
self-centered.
wound up in jail. So
But isn't that like maybe New York people, New York professionals as well? Just self-centered. The world revolves around them and screw everyone else.
man. But no, you mentioned The Good Place, and that just immediately took me back to
Mm,
that finale. Oh my God, that was perfect. That's
yeah,
Jeff's kiss.
yeah, because
Um,
it was planned that way. They plan it, and then
hmm.
they ruined Lost because the network wanted more and more. The Lindelhoff and Carlton Cuse, they had plans. This was supposed to go for this long and do this, this, and this.
Three
But because,
seasons, and ABC
yep,
wanted 10,
yeah, three
and then we
seasons of a
got
movie,
6.
yeah, and it got ruined because they just need to produce it, need to get it out. You've got to give writers time. You've got to give this, and that's why Stranger Things I think is really good because Netflix gives them time to get it right,
And
and maybe
they're dealing with a separate problem, the fact that these kids are going to be 30 years old by the time the show's over.
yeah, that will be interesting. Hopefully they do skip forward in time. Maybe it's the 90s. Maybe the
Well,
series
that's the
ends in the
thing. I
90s.
don't
That'd
know
be
how they
good.
could, because the end of last season, I'm like, this is like the end of days stuff going on right now. Like,
Yeah,
unless it jumps 10 years into the future and we're in like the apocalypse, that would be
yeah.
wild.
That'll
Well, we'll
be-
have to wait until 2029 or something like that for us to
no, it'll
find.
be this year, won't it? Stranger Things will be out this year, won't it? Like around Halloween, I think. That's a prediction from me. I think it will come out
I
this year.
I will send you $1 through whatever, like Zelle or whatever service. I can get you money. I'll give you $1 if Stranger Things comes out this year.
Okay. All right. Well,
We'll make
I'll
a
probably forget
trading
this conversation,
places
but
bet here for $1.
yeah, okay. Right. No worries.
But yeah. Now, Adam, who's an actor you would love to see make a comeback? Who's getting Tarantino'd?
Oh, I love my answer for this because I'm an '80s kid and I love this. I loved him in or every movie I saw him in. Corey Feldman. I would love to see Corey Feldman come back. I don't think he'd be the same, but that dude had so much charm and so much. He was a talented dude. He was actually a talented kid. He's very funny when you see him from things like The Goonies through to The Burbs when he's a bit older, and
Yeah.
he's awesome in all of that. He's awesome in all of that, and I'd love to see Corey Feldman just because I think he was hard done by. He had a hard time in Hollywood just for that factor as well, like the Brendan Fraser type of comeback.
Yeah.
I'd just love to see Corey Feldman just jag him, just fall ass backwards into something that made him big again. It'd be great.
That's a fun pick. It would be very interesting
Yeah.
to see what, because like they made some kind of like long after Lost Boys sequel or something in the past 10 years, and he popped up on it, but it was straight to VOD or
Oh,
something
right.
crazy like that. But like nobody saw it.
Yeah.
So, but maybe he'll pop up in The Critic, Tarantino's last film.
Oh, the critic. Yeah. Well, maybe wouldn't that be good? That'd be good.
We'll have to
I'd
see.
be down for
We'll have to see what actors he does Tarantino in this last one.
that.
He needs a Tarantino Travolta for a second time. Because right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
I love his Capital One Santa commercials because Disco Santa John Travolta is a lot of fun, but that's basically
Oh,
all
really?
he's doing.
I've
So,
not seen that. I'll have to YouTube that. There's this
but
Saturday Night Live or something, or
it's
Saturday
it's
Night
a
Fever.
it is a Christmas version of Saturday Night Fever, him walking down the street as Santa. It's so much
No
fun.
way. Yeah, that'd be cool. I
And it's a
want to see
Capital
that.
One commercial. I'm just like, this is so random, but I think it's Capital One. This is why commercials are so bad. They focus on getting your attention and then you forget what they're
You
actually.
don't know who they. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, my last question for you, Adam, is if you met somebody new and they had to get to know you through watching movies, what 3 movies would you pick for them to watch to get to know you?
This is actually really tough, but I think I've chickened out and just gone with three of my four favorite films, like my
There you
on my
go.
Letterboxd top four. Um, I don't know that they would tell much about me as a person. Maybe they do. The 12 Monkeys is obviously would be one of them. I don't know what that would tell about me to a person watching it, rather than maybe I don't know, a little bit strange, which makes sense. Uh, La La Land is definitely one because again, that's not something that is typically me, but it
Mhm.
also show maybe a bit more internal me, like as a hopeless romantic and um,
and your love for jazz.
Man, I don't know jazz. I know jazz about as much as my cup of coffee sitting there. But I know, I just think La La Land is a great. I don't know. It's just a great film for me. I just love it. I adore it. And the last one would be the Truman Show. Again, I don't know what that would tell about me, other than I don't know. I just think it's so deep, and it's
You're
way
Truman
deeper
and you want to
than.
escape from all this nonsense.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just think it's a really deep film, and much deeper than the surface shows. Actually, maybe that. I don't know. Crossing its
The
shores, but
I feel like the world has turned into his dome. Like we're
yeah,
all Truman.
yeah,
We're all being
yeah,
watched.
absolutely. It's
Social
hard to
media has
deny
turned
that.
all of us into Truman.
Well, it's
So
not just that. It's also everywhere you go, you're on video, like with security cameras and CCTV, and you can't go anywhere without being on film. So yeah, it's a
well, that got
strange
deep.
thought.
But
Truman
hey,
Show will do that to you.
yeah, well, those are all three great films, so I would appreciate that. If somebody told me you need to watch these three movies, I'm like, I'm here. I'm here for it. Now, Adam,
Yeah,
I'd like to wrap up the show how I always do, which is allowing my guest to ask
yeah.
me a question. So, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Um, I think I thought of a good one. Finally, it's a good question to ask you. Um, with, of any of your favorite comedies from the past, obviously it has to be from the past. A silly thing to say. For any of your say top five favorite comedies, which one of those films would you have loved to have acted in, and which character would you have wanted to have played?
I am 100% going to be Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski,
Of course,
which,
of course.
so, preview,
Yes, man.
my
Shut the fuck
wife
up,
and
Tony.
I might actually be dressing up as the dude in Walter
Oh
for
yes, doesn't that
Halloween
make
this
sense?
year. So,
Yeah,
oh my God, I love John Goodman so much. John Goodman has some of the best range out of any character actor because boy, can he just be
yeah,
funny
man.
and absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, he's great.
Just watch Barton Fink, and you'll get both of them.
Yeah.
But Walter is one of the most unhinged, hilarious characters in any comedy, and just so
He's a
endlessly
pederast.
quotable. Bucket zero. And every time I go to the movie theater, I feel like I'm Walter. I'm like, am I the only one around here because I shirt about the rules? And the whole thing where it's just like, am I wrong, dude? Am I wrong? It's like, no,
Yeah, am I
Walter,
wrong?
you're not wrong. Just an asshole. It's
Oh
like
man, I could see you doing that. Yep, that makes so much sense, actually.
it's just sitting there, just like
Yeah,
it's like, what was it? 9-year-olds, dude.
he's a
9-year-olds.
pederast. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pederast. It's
Oh, man,
just
that's funny.
Donnie, you're out of your element. It's like, oh, dude, preferred nomenclatures Asian Americans. It's like,
Yeah,
Walter, I'm not talking about like the guys that built the railroads. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
that that whole scene where he's talking when he answers the phone, like when he calls him on the Sabbath or something, he goes, "What are you doing? I knew it was an emergency." Yeah,
I get that, but how is this an emergency? Sherman Shabbos. It's
so
like,
funny.
you know, it's not like a library card, dude. You don't just hand it in and stop being Jewish. From Moses to Sandy Koufax. He's just so ridiculous. Every little thing is up to 11.
He is ridiculous, but he's also very believable because people like that exist. They
Well, you know who he's
absolutely
based off
exist.
of? John
No.
Milius, like
Who's
the
that?
director of Conan the Barbarian and everything.
Oh,
Like,
for real?
yeah.
Wow.
Which and
That's
like if
awesome.
you look up John Milius, it looks just like
Oh,
Walter.
Amelia's.
The
Right.
beard, the giant aviate, everything.
So I did not. Okay.
Which I just Walter is probably my favorite comedic character in the history of movies, and I just love him so much. And you would have so much fun just playing him. Like anybody, I feel like would have fun playing him in a movie. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like, dude, I haven't been more sure about anything in my life, and this man walks.
That's funny. I am looking up John Milius right now. I thought you said Bilius, and I was like,
Oh
I've never
no,
heard that
no,
before. But
John
no.
Milius.
Oh, he does look exactly like him. That's fantastic.
Yep. But Adam,
Oh my
that
goodness.
was indeed a great question. So thank you.
Yeah, I was happy with that one. Yeah, no,
And a
yeah,
second
good answer.
and a honorable mention is Shrek. I feel like that
You'd play Shrek.
yes.
I
Or
always
I
thought
can do
I'd
a
like to play.
variety of things. Do you know the Muffin Man?
I'd like to have played Paul Rudd in Anchorman. I mean, that's hilarious. I love him in that.
Brian Fantana.
Yeah, Brian
I
Fantana.
would
Yeah.
imagine Brick Tamlin would be so much fun to
Oh,
play.
dude. I think that would be a really hard role to play. To be honest, I think that'd be the hardest.
I don't think I could have come up with even a fraction of the stuff that Steve Carell does in that.
Nah,
Because
no,
Steve Carell's a comedic genius. Like
he really is.
he
He
really
really is.
knows. Um, small like side honorable mention is just being a third character in I Love You Man, just so I could be friends with all
Yeah,
of Jason Segel's characters. I just
yeah,
want to
that's
be
a good
best
idea.
friends with them.
Mm.
I wanted to go to a Rush concert with them. Like so bad. Slap with the bass.
Slap of the bass.
That's it, slap with the bass. It's like slap with the bass? Are you supposed to be a leprechaun or something? Oh
Oh
man.
man, that movie's underrated, isn't it?
Oh, I love you, man. Dude, so
Yeah,
many
same.
random characters like, let's go! And just like um Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and his like obnoxious like squealing, and then
Oh yeah.
Chris Lennon with his cigarette kiss because he gets set up with Paul Rudd on a date. Just and like his dad J.K. Simmons and his
Oh
brother's Andy
man.
Samberg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh
See,
man, that's great.
now I just want to stay up and watch all of these and get a bunch of laughs all night. So,
Oh man, I've got a million things I want to watch after our chats today. It's crazy.
but Adam, thank you so much, as always, for coming on chatting movies with me.
And always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. It's been good.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.